April was a pretty good month for us, but now it's over, so it's time to go over all the games I played in April. First up was the final Dead Space game of the series, Dead Space Extraction. This is an on-rail shooter that was made for the Wii and PS3, and it takes place as a prequel to the first game. I think this game is so underrated. It's getting an 8 out of 10 from me. If you're a fan of the Dead Space lore, story, universe, please try and get your hands on this. It's super fun. Being an on-rail shooter, all you really have to do is look around for items and weapons as well as shoot things, and I played on the PS3 with the analog controller, and honestly, I found it pretty good. I didn't have any troubles aiming where I needed to. And it provides some pretty cool backstory as to how the original Ishimura outbreak started, which is pretty fun to watch. Only thing I will say, if you're playing on PS3, please note that third-party controllers don't work with this. You need a genuine Sony PS3 controller with the 6-axis motion control. I found that out the hard way. Next is Amnesia Rebirth. Now, I had some mixed feelings about the first two Amnesia games. They weren't my cup of tea. I found them quite difficult in terms of puzzles. I wasn't a super big fan of the sanity mechanic, anything like that, but I prefer this game a lot to the other Amnesia games. This one's getting a 6.5 out of 10 from me, so it's still not my favourite game out there, but so far out of all the Amnesia games, excluding The Bunker, which I have yet to play, this is my favourite of them all. The story was decent, still a little bit hard to follow, but that's just kind of how it goes. The gameplay mechanics were a lot better. There's still sanity, but I found it easier to manage. The puzzles, I barely had to look up walkthroughs on how to complete it. I actually quite enjoyed myself. We also brought back our Nintendo Fridays the month of April, and we jumped into Kirby 64. Now, I know that last time I said that Kirby Superstar was my favorite Kirby game, but this has overtaken it. This is a 9 out of 10 Kirby game right here. This was so freaking fun. The art style is so cute. I liked the 3D, 2D kind of vibes. There were some funky camera angles in there. But the power-ups and the combining power-ups was super fun, and just overall, I had a blast with this game. And ending the month with an absolute banger is Resident Evil 2 on the PS1. Now, this guy, I decided to go with Claire A, Leon B for my first run, as I'd heard that that one is the most canon in the series. But this is an amazing game. I see why people love this one so much. It was so much fun. This is a 10 out of 10. I'm actually a little torn as to whether I prefer this game or the remake. Everyone knows RE2 Remake was not only my first Resident Evil game, but was up until now my favourite. I think these guys honestly are hand in hand with each other. I think they both do some things better than each other. The remake, obviously, I do have some nostalgia towards. I think the puzzles are a lot more complex in the remake, and they actually required some thinking, whereas the original not so much. Mr. X was actually pretty intimidating, whereas in this original he's kind of a pushover, I'm not gonna lie. However, I think that the intertwined campaigns were done much better in the original. It actually felt like they were taking place on top of each other, which was really cool. Some of the details, such as sharing items and sharing doors, and just the layout of everything was very, very well done. I would play this game again in a heartbeat. I loved it. So there we go. That's it from me this month. Stick around to see what happens in the month of May.